Hello and welcome to the Minipaints channel. Warhammer can be an expensive hobby, so when it comes to getting the ability to get cheaper minis, such as through subscription magazines and other ways, it's always a good deal, and it's something you shouldn't really pass up. Well, that's what I think anyway. One of the things recently that has been available has been the Combat Patrol magazine. Now, issue 2 was $6.99 and came with 3 Von Ryan's Leapers. This was a really good deal because at $6.99 instead of £25, which is the average price from a third-party retailer, you got a really good deal. But I didn't stop at just one copy. I went to the local newsagents and spoke to the friendly people behind the counter and actually picked up enough for 3 squads of 6, which is the maximum you can play in Warhammer 40,000. Not wanting to add to my pile of shame, I decided that I would paint them efficiently and quickly and try and get them onto the tabletop in the best way I could, still looking like they fitted the rest of my army. First up was to build and prime all of the models. As these were push fit, it didn't take too long to do, and for priming I used the Colourforge Imperial Purple as the primer. These are my go-to rattle cans as they offer amazing colour matches to GW and are army size tints. When painting models in batches, I normally like to paint a test model and see what it looks like and see if there's anything I need to change. I normally start off with just one, keep it nice and straight and forward, paint it as if I'm painting all the rest, and then seeing if it looks alright at the end, because the worst thing in the world would be painting all of them and then deciding that I don't like the finished outcome for all of them together. The next step was to give the model some shading, so I sprayed a dark purple from beneath for all of the shading and then used a Protocol pink colour on all of the fleshy areas to give the base layer for all the skin components. Airbrushes are a great way to save time and effort when painting large amounts of models. It gives you a consistent coat and it really helps speed up the process. I know not everybody has one. I actually use this, a very cheap Expo Tools one with a small compressor. It does the job very well and it gets my base coats down really quickly. Once the airbrushing was complete, I moved on to the brushwork. To start with, I used a contrast pink, diluted down 2 parts medium to 1 part paint with contrast medium and cover the body parts. For longevity of this, I've actually mixed a pot of contrast medium with the contrast paint in it, so that way I have a large pot of it for the entire army.
After this was a quick matte black on all of the spiky bits. I started off with a pot of black humble paint that I found laying around on my desk, but then moved on to the Pro Acryl Coal Black, as I found the Pro Acryl paint has a better consistency and generally better to work with. With the head, I decided to add some colour and made all of the tentacles a nice vibrant orange, and highlighted them with a red orange from Pro Acryl. I also used this red orange on all of the edges of the black, so that way they'd have a nice bright edge highlight. The hooves were giving a quick layer of Skeleton Horde contrast paint, just to give a nice finished look. Next up were the eyes, and for this it was a dot of white on each of the 6 eyes for every single Von Ryan's Leaper, followed by a nice bright striking scorpion green, giving their eyes a nice piercing look.
When using speed paints and contrast paints, it's always good to remember not to use your expensive brushes. Speed paints can work their way up to the ferrule and ruin them pretty quickly, and because of this I try and find things such as these, the Daler Rowney Simply brushes. They're about £2 for 2, so I don't mind if speed paints reduce the life of them too much, as they're pretty cost effective to get whenever I need more.
Next up, it was the bases. These were given a standard paint job for the rest of my army, which is a nice wet mud colour, base texture paint, and then a sand coloured base rim. This way all keeps it very uniform and keeps my army looking nice on the tabletop.
Now there was a lot more that could have been done to these models, but they are primarily for gaming. They will be varnished and used on a weekly basis. My priority was to get them to a tabletop standard, and that way they would be used as quickly as possible. It was more about the fact that I could financially get a large number of expensive models onto the tabletop without spending a large amount of money. So when the opportunity came out, it made sense to invest in these models, as they're ones I wanted anyway. Not all subscription magazines have models for everybody, but luckily for me, I am in the middle of growing my Tyranid army, and so they were very helpful for getting me to where I wanted to be with those units. If you like this video and would like to see more, please click the like link and subscribe below, and also leave a comment on what you think. It's always greatly received. Till next time, I hope you get some time to paint your model.